Say hi.
Hi.
Hey y'all. So so today is Malcolm X's birthday.
Yep. And today we're going to say surprise.
So we went to the Malcolm X festival and we had a great time, didn't we, Ari?
Yeah. And don't forget big thumbs up.
A big thumbs up. Yeah, we had a great time, y'all. It was so much fun.
And don't give yourself a big thumbs up. It, if you like this video, don't forget more Michael Max Festival videos.
Okay, so this is my video. So you gotta let me do my video.
Mm-hmm.
So play on your tablet.
And you
Okay.
like this,
Because I actually have something that I do want to
hey
talk about.
guys, and you like this video, please subscribe for more
So,
videos.
anyway, I may have to
Bye.
go to a different room.
Hey guys, we're going, we're, we're at Toy Limit.
Can you go to your room for a minute?
Okay.
Take your tablet with you.
Oh,
Watch. Yeah, I'll come get you in a minute. But I want to get this out. And you going to keep interjecting. I love you. Oh, his feelings are hurt. Okay, so today was Malcolm X's birthday. I'm sure if you're even going to watch this video of me, you probably know that. So we had a great time, a great time. It was just packed with just black people everywhere, African people everywhere, and it was just amazing. And this is the first year I've celebrated Malcolm X's birthday to the fullest extent. I celebrated it last year as well, but not like I celebrated it this year. And just the festival was just amazing. It was just like, I mean, it was a lot like the Juneteenth festival. It put me in the mindset of that. But you know, lots of vendors, lots of food, performances, just, you know, people doing music that actually had substance too, not just talking about bullshit. Like it was music full of like positivity and building us up and just commemorating him and everything. And I enjoyed it so much. And what makes me even happier than my enjoyance of it was my son went there knowing, oh, we're going to celebrate Malcolm X. You know, he knows who Malcolm X is. I think I've said that before. So, y'all, it was such a good day. It was amazing. You know, we were out there for probably like three hours or so. And it was, I thought we were going to get rained out because it rained, and where I live, it rained pretty hard before we got down there. But when we got there, it was like it hadn't even rained. So it was a great day, y'all. And just I came back with you know, lots of just shit. You know, I got some soap from this vendor called Control Hair Care, and she does soap, she does conditioner, she does all types of hair products and stuff like that. So I got some stuff from her. I also got a T-shirt, another Malcolm X T-shirt. I got something else. What else? Oh, I got my baby some more books. I think I did a video about educating your kids at home as much as possible. So I got him three books about math. Called Maddie. I think they're Maddie the mathematician or something like that. So I love being around us. I love seeing what we have to offer. So we did that. Um, during the event, y'all, I have a cousin that I really do love dearly. And you know, so many of us we have these people that we really don't like being around, or we talk about it all the time in these different chats that we get on and on Facebook and stuff like that. But you know, we all have them in our family. Y'all know we do, because we wouldn't be talking like as much as we talk to each other in these chat rooms if we had the people in our families and people we see every day that we actually could relate to. I think that most people in our families don't think like we think. And y'all know what I'm talking about. I feel more misunderstood than I ever feel understood. And when I come across somebody who actually understands me or actually gives me the space to talk and vent and actually I have a friend, my best friend, that lives in Milwaukee, and I'm in Atlanta, and she and I were on the same wavelength. And I remember when I first started talking like this a couple of years ago, she really didn't understand where I was coming from at first. And then something happened and she got on the same plane, and it felt relief. I felt relief to have somebody that I could fucking relate to, that I couldn't, because it was hard. It was getting hard for me to not be able to talk to anybody about this shit. You know what I mean? Um, and so anyway, I went into all this because my cousin, right? So my cousin, who's concerned, like everybody else in my family, they all think I'm crazy. I know they're not going to tell me that, but they all think I'm crazy. So, but she said, and I'm sorry about my hair, y'all, but I just took it down and it's a little uneven, but who cares? Because this is what an African looks like, right? So, so my cousin, right? So she sent me some video about Meghan Markle. I don't know why she would send me that shit, because she sees the content of what I post on my Facebook page, so I really don't understand why she would send me that. But she sent me some article about Meghan Markle, and the article, it's like a video. It's not really an article. It was like a video, like you had to press play, but it'll tell you the title of the video. So the video was reading something like her father was Caucasian and her mother was African American, and it trails off. Wants you to press play. I'm not pressing play for that. I mean, no, not. I'm not saying. I'm not calling her that because that's my cousin. But I'm like, why are you sending me this? So, and then there was a little blurb that was talking about the reason why they, you know, oh, we're just so happy for Meghan Markle and freckle face and marrying Prince Harry and all this other bullshit. And I was just like, I'm not fixing to watch this shit. So my response to her, because okay, you have to understand, like, let me give a little bit of background. About 2 months ago, she reached out to me in my inbox because she said she felt like she was concerned because she felt like she wanted me to restore joy in my life, and she felt like I was kind of com- like like in a bad place, essentially is what she said. And I told her, I said, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm wondering what's wrong with everybody else who's not concerned about what I'm seeing every day, but there's nothing wrong with me. I feel like, huh? Not yet. Give me like 2 more minutes, 5 more minutes, okay? And so she said, I told her we kind of conversed a little, but I kept it respectful because, it's my cousin. And I'm sure it's probably concerning to a lot of people of my views and how they've changed in the last 4 years or 3 years or whatever. I get it. So I told her, I said, no, I try to keep myself balanced as best I can. I react to things because I think there are things worth reacting to. You don't just hear about somebody getting murdered by the police and just say, that's awful. Let me pray about it and move on with your life. You wonder what you can do to stop this shit from happening, right? I mean, I think that's the way that we should deal with these things, but that's me. So, we talked a little bit about that. I told her I appreciated her concern, and, that's fine. But I think I did a video shortly after that to make sure people were aware I'm not crazy. Not yet, baby. But I am I understand what I'm doing. I understand what I'm saying. I understand the content of what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is all backed up by facts. It's not things I'm just pulling out of my ass because I just want to be mad about something. So there was that conversation. So last week was Mother's Day, right? And I wore this, I think I was bad as fuck in this dress that I just bought. Actually, I haven't just bought it. I have had it in my closet for like over a year. And I wore it for the first time on Mother's Day. And I thought I looked bad as fuck, okay? I got lots of compliments on my dress, and just I had my hair pulled up. I had a pretty little azalea in this side of my hair that I got from my own yard. You know, I thought I was cute. I mean, at the very least. So in one of the pictures that I took, um, my spouse took it, and I held up a Black Power sign in it, and I on my Instagram page I captioned it, "I'm revolutionary even in a dress." She came over there and she commented and said, um, "Thanks, Keith. Wish I could say the same, but I don't know what you look like." So, um, but I am married though. But she said, uh, she said, "Well, despite all that, we love you anyway." I said, and then I didn't say, well, I did say something. I just kind of responded and said, "LOL," and didn't really know what else to say because I was like, why are you even commenting if whatever. So I didn't really take it anywhere. I just kind of went on about it, um, but then tonight when she sent me that shit about the royal wedding, I needed to respond to her, and my response was, I have I'm disgusted by this story. I'm just paraphrasing because I can't pull it up while I'm on here. But I said I'm really don't know why we're happy about this story. It has nothing. There's nothing that we should be celebrating or feeling any type of victory over from this royal wedding. It really has nothing to do with us. This racially ambiguous woman who distances herself from being black. Um, Not yet. Almost. And you know, so anyway, I was just like, I don't really know what there is to be happy about, and I really am. I want you not to send me these things. I don't care about these types of things. They don't do anything for me or for my happiness, because I feel like she's marrying into this royal family that's racist as fuck, and this isn't anything new. They're pushing an agenda called AFRICOM, and if you know anything about AFRICOM, it's something that you should not be happy that anybody of African descent would even want to be associated with, and especially not marrying into a family that's pushing that agenda. So, um, I said all of that kind of around in a roundabout way. I broke it up. I kind of sent her bits and pieces at a time over, I sent the response, but it was just broken up. I didn't send it all in one big blurb. And I broke it up. And she never responded. So, and I think I got even more angry when I realized you sent me this shit on Malcolm X's birthday. Did you even know it was Malcolm X's birthday today? That I'm here celebrate. I know you knew. That's my son. But yeah, I mean, I of all days for you to send me some bullshit for me to get pissed about, why did you send me that today? Why couldn't you send me that shit yesterday? Don't I mean, I know you guys wouldn't typically. I don't, like I said, I don't. Some of y'all may not know who's watching, but don't send me shit like that. Cause I'm not gonna do. Cause if you family, I'm either gonna say something like that, and if you're not family and somebody I don't know, I'm just gonna block you. So don't ever send me anything like that, and especially not on a day I consider a very very um important holiday. Like Malcolm X to me is like, I don't want to say like what Jesus is to some of y'all, but he is somebody that I commemorate very highly. He's somebody I think very highly of, and him and Asada Shakur. And stop, because I told you not to come back in here until I finish this, and I told you to give me 5 minutes, and it's only been about four. But I look up to these people. I take what they did very seriously. I take their fight for the revolution very 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 seriously, and You're going to come at me asking me to be happy for this woman who doesn't identify with being black at all. She said, I'm mixed. And she said, I don't have a strong connection to my blackness. She said that. And you want me to look at this video and feel some sort of joy or some sort of connection because she married this colonizer. And his family is giving her all types of horrible comments and just already treating her like shit, and you guys want me to be happy about that? Why? Why, fam? Why are you happy about this? That this woman just married into this family that's not gonna ever treat her as human? Why? These are the things that I don't understand, because here I am at an actual event that actually celebrates an actual revolutionary person, somebody who actually fought for black people everywhere. Everywhere. And you want me to celebrate the royal wedding? Why? Why? So that's all I really wanted to come on here and tell you guys about. Um, because I was just kind of like, I don't know why she sent me that shit on Malcolm X's birthday. And like I said, I know it wasn't something that she did purposefully, because most niggas don't even know when the man was born. They don't even know when he died. They don't even know what he really fought for. They just know Malcolm X was somebody who was outspoken and rowdy, and excuse me, most people, most black people think because they don't care to learn about their own history, they think that he was just somebody who wanted to stir up a lot of violence, and that's why he died. And his own people shot him and killed him. They won't tell. They do not believe that the government had anything to do with his death. They won't say that. They're gonna say the Nation of Islam killed him. Okay, sure, fam, sure. That's what you want to believe. But I had fun today at the Malcolm X celebration. I thought it was amazing. It was so many beautiful black people there. I saw a couple of Caucasians there, but they didn't step out of line, so we didn't have to check them. But they were cool. They were cool. I mean, I didn't really talk to them. So that's probably the reason I felt like they were cool, because they didn't talk to me. But they were cool. They didn't seem like they stepped out of their line. They seemed like they were there to kind of help facilitate whatever they were there. You know, they were mostly with vendors or with people that brought them along. You know, there's always some black person there that can't help but bring a Caucasian to a black event. I mean, nobody's gonna tell them they can't do it, because it's a free, well, it's a free country. But you know, I mean, it was cool and everything like that. And, you know, it was just really family friendly. It was all types of um, family families there. I like the fact that I wasn't the only. I don't like to use LGBT really anymore, but I wasn't the only GSNL. What's the acronym? Gender and sexuality nonconforming African. GSN. See, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time putting the acronym together, but I can say it out. I can say the whole thing out better than I can the acronym. But gender and sexuality nonconforming African is what I am. Um, sure could. We really could. But with all that being said, there were all types of families there, just regular traditional families, you know, and I enjoyed it. I just enjoy being around my people, and that's the thing. Don't ever let it, you know, your family, whatever type of family it is. We are under the illusion that, you know, though people like myself that have families like mine would never be accepted into like a black community. And my spouse told me today she felt like, oh well, you know that this is going to be an event where they're not really going to be heavily accepting. We did not run into anybody that looked at us any type of way. That I'm sure there would have been people there that would have, but I'm just saying we were comfortable. There was no types of negativity coming our way at all, or if it was, I didn't pick up on it. It was lots of, like I said, beautiful music. Vendors were everywhere. Good food. Uh, you know, just lots of positive blackness everywhere. and I just love being around it. I was just soaking it in. I was just basking in it. I didn't want to leave, but I had to. So, um, my son enjoyed himself, and he's asking if we can go back tomorrow because it is an all weekend event, and we might just do that. We may just do that. I don't know. But y'all, I mean, things like this are things that we should always celebrate. We should always run and flock to things like this. So the Malcolm X celebration, the next thing they're having, well, the Malcolm X celebration, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of metropolitan areas have something of the like, but I'm in Atlanta, so they had it here in Atlanta. And since Malcolm X's birthday was today, there's probably other happenings happening all over the place. So if depending on where you live, I would just you could probably check Facebook to see if there's like a event happening near you or something like that. But and I kind of just learned of this happening like about 3 weeks ago, and I just oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm going. His birthday's the same time every year, so they probably have it every weekend, and then like Juneteenth, they'll do that the week prior to June the 19th because that's when Juneteenth is on June the 19th, but they'll probably have well they will be having it here in Atlanta. They'll have it around the 16th of the because that's going to be the Saturday and Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. Sometimes they'll have a Pan African Fest. Last time they had one of those, which was last year, it got rained out, so we didn't really. Oh, you're in Cleveland. I got family in Toledo. I don't know if they have. I mean, they should with it being Cleveland have something. I would think that Cleveland would have lots of black centered events because I know that. I mean, I would hope they would only because I know that's where Tamir Rice was from, and I mean, there's lots of other people, prominent people who have come out of Cleveland, so I would think they would have something there to commemorate Malcolm X or Juneteenth, and there's got to be some sort of black center. Oh, yeah, but so is Georgia. I mean, it just depends on where you are. It just depends on. It really depends on the black presence. Give me 3 more minutes, and then you can come in. 3 minutes. Yes, 3 minutes. Yeah, because Georgia is very heavily Republican. I mean, I'm in Atlanta, but it is a red state. So that's what I'm saying. It really just depends on the black presence and who you've got that's organizing things of that sort. So you might be surprised. Just check, and even if it's not in Cleveland, maybe check Columbus area. I know I don't know that they would have anything in something small like Akron or Canton or anything like that, but like you could look in Cincinnati. I know Cincinnati's not particularly close for you, but since you're in Cleveland, maybe I don't know if Toledo would have anything. They typically don't. I don't know. That that's where all my people are, is Toledo. Oh, but wait a minute. Maybe Detroit would have something. You're not too far from Detroit. Not too far. You're probably like a good, what, 2 hours, I guess, from Detroit. You might check Detroit and see if they have something. Um, what'd you say? You said in Georgia, way more free thinkers and conscious people there. You know the thing about Georgia that kind of irritates me a little? You would think that, but one of the things that have kind of bothered me is I try to sell a revolutionary newspaper. It's been around a long time. And a few weeks ago, I was out here trying to sell the newspaper, and nobody really cared to hear what I had to say about it. And I went to a very, because I don't particularly live in the area that I live in Atlanta is not predominantly a black area. And I've been up here now for 5 years. So I moved here before my mind had kind of transformed to what it is now. And I had my son 4 years ago almost. And I moved up here because I heard the school system was like the best in the state. Like Cobb County is where it's at. So I moved up here for that reason. And even though I've never had a problem being around my people, back then my mind wasn't, you need to be, you really want to live around your people. I was just like, no, I just want to live where I can get a good education, I can be comfortable and all this stuff like that. So I don't like the area because it's not, there are black people here, but you know what it's like to live in a not predominantly black area. There's black people around, but you wish there were a few more. It's kind of like that. So anyway, so I went down to the mall where I knew we were at because I don't see going. Sure, baby, but you got to sit on the floor so you don't. You could stay. Bring your tablet so you can have something to do. But when I went there, nobody was interested in hearing what I had to say about the paper. Very few people were like, "Oh yeah, look, tell me about this. Tell me about how long has it been around." You would think there would be people, especially given events that happen. You know what I'm saying? Like every day we're hearing about somebody being killed or on the floor for a minute. All that stuff. Nobody cares. It's like you almost gotta pull. It's like pulling teeth. And the only reason people get interested in doing something is when something happens to somebody they know. Stone Mountain is where they just tried to. Stone Mountain. I've only been to Stone Mountain a couple of times, but that's where they had the Confederate memorials. And people were protesting the memorials, wanting those to come down. And then there were some other events that had happened recently where people were like getting pissed off that like there was KKK members running around there and everything like that. Black people live out in Stone Mountain, but it's not particularly black friendly or anything like that. It's down here in the South. One thing you got to realize is we
Can we play Uno?
maybe. I don't know if I want to play Uno tonight.
Please.
Maybe. Um Black people in the South, what we do is we have learned to just, I mean, and this is just ongoing. I've always lived in the South. I've never lived anywhere else. But we are used to dealing with subtle racism, overt racism because it's down here. We see Confederate flags every goddamn day. But Stone Mountain, only reason people are now speaking out more against it is because now white people in general, are starting to do things that are making black people more uncomfortable. Like you want to try to force white people to be nicer to you because you feel like they have to do it now since we've gone through this period of time where they promised you they would be nicer to you, and they said they were going to do right, and they said they were going to honor Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream speech, and all that bullshit. And now that we're seeing lynchings, actual lynchings, there's been like at least two lynchings within the last 2 weeks here in Atlanta that they're ruling as suicides. One they said was a suicide. The other one, I don't think they've come out and said why they feel like that happened. Um, but they said they found somebody attached to a tree. That's what they said. So stuff like that, when we're in the South and we hear things like that, that's the type of stuff that starts to get people to start feeling uncomfortable because they're like, oh, now they're finding people lynched, or now they're finding people, they have a case that they know they have no way of looking around seeing that it was tied to race. And but before, we're used to being around Becky Ann where we know she don't really like being around us, but she's tolerating us because she feels like she has to. We're used to that shit down here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you guys are used to it up there because I've been to Ohio enough to know that racism is there too. Racism is in every inch of this country. Really, it's in every inch of this globe. But when we're looking at the United States of America, there is nowhere that you can go in this country where racism just does not exist. It just doesn't. But in the South, what we have always been used to dealing with is what they call that Southern hospitality racism, where they'll smile in your face, they'll pat you on the head, And black people will eat that shit up and say, Miss Mary is so sweet. She baked me an apple pie today. She invited me in her house. And then she want me to come back and she want me to cut her grass. And they'll say shit like that and not realize Mary still looks at you like a goddamn slave. What are you talking about? Now, I'm in my 30s. Uh, and like I said, I have been in the South my whole life. And I've always had a thing about racism, but as far as like now knowing what racism actually is, and it's really just a branch off of a big ass tree, and that's colonialism. That's capitalism. We're looking at a much bigger thing here, and we're looking at the fact that white people worldwide have benefited from that system. And when you start to challenge that system, and that's what's happening, then they start to get angry, pissed off, and react to that. So that's what we're seeing. You do have more black people that are starting to wake up and come around and say, hey, this isn't right, we got to stop this. But you also have several black people, most black people are still heavily asleep, and they want to act like, oh, it's not all white people, it's not all police officers, it's not everybody. People just want to live and be happy. Is that so wrong? I don't want my kids to not have to live in a world where they can't have this or have that. I want to be able to still buy them stupid shit that they really don't need because I want them to see me as a good parent and all this bullshit like that. We don't have the desire. Most of us don't, on a large scale, feel like we're not going to homeschool our kids. I want to homeschool mine. I don't know that it's a practical thing for me to do because me and my spouse both work full-time jobs. I do want to, though. It's something that if I can make it work, I will do it. And even if I can't do it in the beginning, it will be something I'm constantly going to be working towards figuring out a way to make that happen. But we, as a whole, we still trust this system overall. We still trust this system to educate our kids. We still trust this system to feed our kids a good balanced meal. We still trust this system to treat us with respect, and I really don't understand why. Given just within the last 3 years alone, no black person should trust anything that this education system gives to our kids. And if your kids are going to a public school, you should be at least, at the very least, coming home and saying, "Okay, son, what did you learn? Let's talk about it." Or come home, daughter. Let's talk about what you learned today, and let's sit and unpack this. And here's what you need to know from the black perspective. You need to know they're going to teach you Malcolm X was a violent person. I want to tell you what Malcolm X stood for. I want to tell you who Asada Shakur was. And I don't even remember hearing anything about Asada Shakur in any history books that I grew up studying. So I didn't learn about Asada Shakur until probably like 4 or 5 years ago, where I actually just first heard her name. Um, I so I said by the end of the summer, my son will know at least 5 revolutionaries. I'd liked it for him to learn 10, but he's not. He's just turning 4, so he already knows who Malcolm X is. He's gonna know who. I'd like to teach him who Asada Shakur is. I want to teach him who Kwame Ture was. I want to teach him how Kwame Nkrumah was. I've got to learn about him. I've been watching a lot of speeches on Kwame Ture. That's who I've been watching for the last like 2 weeks, just kind of ongoing. But I want to teach him at least 5 before the end of the summer. And when I say teach him, some of these people I'm just learning about. I don't, I couldn't have told you. I knew the name Stokely Carmichael. I knew of him, but as far as his teachings, I didn't know who he was. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. And so it's just where you are, you have to start kind of learning what's in your community, because it's like where I live is just pretty much I'm always in the city to do anything that's culturally relevant to my family, because it's nothing up here that they're going to center around black or African people. They're just not going to do it, and that's fine. I just have to drive to get where I need to get. It's totally fine. But that, and then again, like, that's why I want my son to surround himself. And I did find him a pre-K program that I feel like he's going to fit into, and it's predominantly looks like it's going to be black, but it's mixed, but it's predominantly black. That's what I want. If my son goes to any school where there are going to be Caucasians there, I need it to be at least predominantly black. That's just, you know, where are you from, Keith? You say you wanted to come back to the South. Where are you from? Um, I really would like to. I like it here in Atlanta. I do like Atlanta, and it's a lot of black people here. Don't get me wrong. When you had mentioned earlier about it being a lot of conscious and free thinkers here, there are some. Oh, New Jersey. Okay, okay, New Jersey. New Jersey's considered the South. um, you you have a lot of people here, and that's one of the reasons I like Atlanta so much, is you do have a lot of black people here. And I do think that the potential for people to be awakened, and I think there are already some great people here. um you miss it, you miss ATL. Well, I mean, ATL miss you too. I mean, traffic sucks, but if you can get around the traffic, or if you can find a way to take MARTA where you need to go, you in good shape. um but there are a lot of black people here that do have conscious minds, that actually do. When I looked at that festival today and I saw all those people at the festival, I was like, this is the most of these people have got to want to do something about what we're seeing. These people can't be trying to live on through Malcolm X's legacy and just be okay with standing idly and doing nothing. So I hope that there are a lot of conscious people. But again, I wish I had the newspapers that I sell. I could have probably sold all of them being at that festival today, but I hadn't gotten the May issues yet, and I don't have any more April issues. So I'm like, okay, well, I probably will have some when I go to the Juneteenth festival, but I really hope I have the June issue of it. But it's a lot of people here. It's a lot of black people here in Atlanta, and a lot of prominent black people. The issue that I have is that some of those black people would be considered what we call petty bourgeoisie, and those petty bourgeoisie people don't typically do anything to uplift the black community. They are busy trying to stuff their own pockets, line their own pockets, and help other people that have the same financial means that they have, and they are willing to sell out and throw their people under the bus. And that is a huge percentage of the black people that are here that people consider prominent. Um, now, but again, at that festival today, it was so many people there. I was like, there's no way you can tell me that. I mean, most people there probably don't know a lot of stuff, and I don't know everything. Like I said, I'm learning shit every day. But what I do want, yeah, I love Cynthia G. Cynthia G had me cracking up these last couple of nights. She had me cracking up. What was she saying? She kept playing I'm addicted to boys. I could not with her. I said I'm she kills me. But that's why I don't do these videos a lot, but I do them just to bounce ideas and just kind of shoot the shit with y'all, because I want to talk to people more like-minded, because there, as much as I want to get out and meet people here in Atlanta, what I was telling my cousin, not the one that sent me the bullshit in my inbox, but the other cousin that I had to vent to after the fact, I'm like, I feel so misunderstood. Yes, it was. I just feel so misunderstood, because it's like most people just think that when I'm talking, like I'm talking to you, they think I'm fucking crazy. And it gets frustrating when the most of the people that you're around, even my spouse, she won't say it, but she doesn't get it. She just doesn't get it. And so I um I'm not gonna ever stop fighting for my people. I cannot consciously do that when I realize that there is a war that's been declared. It's not even new. It's This war is not new. This is not something that just happened. Obama didn't just wake this up. Obama wasn't even on our team. Like, when the sooner people will realize that, the sooner maybe we will get busy and we will start doing something. But you got too many people still sitting up here fighting and saying Obama, we want to get. That was something I saw at the festival today that disappointed me. One of those vendors I saw it at a couple of them. They had this little poster, and it said missing at the top of it, and it had Obama's picture on it saying we need him back in the White House. And I was thinking, why? What did he do for you? What did he do for you? um when you start realizing people will call shit out like that, then maybe we are waking up as a whole. But right now I just don't see that we're waking up as a whole, because would most people would go back to living their lives as they typically did every day if Obama was back in the office. If Hillary was in the office, people would do that. And when you realize that none of those people are fighting in your interest, then we might be on the right path, and you might have people that are actually going to get up and do something. But right now people are still under the illusion that Obama, this is all this shit fell apart when Trump got in office, and it didn't. And I'll be the first to tell you, I voted for Obama twice, and I wanted to defend him to the end. And even after Trump got in office, I still did not want to lambaste him. I did not want to, say he didn't do shit, but he did not do anything for us. He did not do anything for us. And matter of fact, he actually hurt people in Africa. He dropped drones on these countries in Africa. There ain't no reason in the world we should be building that man up. No, really, and really, no U.S. president we should really look at as having done anything for the black community. Not Bill Clinton, not obviously not Ronald Reagan. Um, yeah. Well, I definitely get that because, like I said, I typically don't talk to a lot of people because I feel like, what's the point? Um, but but yeah, like, people, when they, none of these presidents have done anything in our interest, not in the interest of the black community alone. You will find every other subcategory of group, even being a part of what they would consider to be LGBT. And I, like I said, I don't even like to use that term, but even being a part of that community, even being a woman, even being any of those things, I realize that no administration has ever done anything specifically for the black community. And the black community as a whole has been obviously subjugated to chattel slavery for hundreds of years, and we still seem to think that there's a benefit in fighting for feminism or women's rights or the LGBT community. And all of those communities both of those communities I just mentioned, both of them have hung us out to dry. There's racism in the LGBT community. There's racism in the women's right. I will never identify as a feminist again. I did at one point, but I will never identify as a feminist again. And I'm not ashamed of the fact that I'm in a lesbian relationship. I have been in for 14 years, but I do recognize there's discrimination. But what I will tell you is that even in those types of settings, your tummy doesn't feel well. What do you want to do? You want to come up here? Okay, come on up here. So but you don't have to align yourself with a group of people who's going to subjugate you. They're going to sell you out to get their interests met. But when it comes to your plight as a black person in this country, they're not going to do shit for you. They're going to make it an all lives matter type thing. I've seen it happen every single time. So the organization that I'm associated with, like I said, we are viewed as GSNL. Did I say it right? I keep trying to put it together, but GSN non-conforming GSNA. That's what it is. GSNA. And That's what I identify as when it comes to, if I have to put a label on myself as far as my sexuality is concerned, that's what it is. I do not say I'm LGBT unless I'm trying to say get out the fact that I am in a that type of a relationship. But I am black first. My loyalty is to my black people, and I will fight alongside a cis man. I will fight alongside a cis woman. So long as you don't take down my humanity in any way, I'm not going to allow you to do that. But I am black first. My loyalties are black first, because I realize that our interests have never ever been fought for alone, and we are constantly trying to fight. We've always been that type of people where we fight for everybody else's interest, but we don't fight for our own. And when it comes to getting people to, thank you, Keith, and I'm glad I hope that you don't feel alone, because sometimes when I'm in other spaces, I do feel kind of like I'm by myself in that. But I'm black first, and I'm not going to fight unconditionally for we. None of us should fight unconditionally for these other groups when those other groups don't fight for us. How many times have we seen it happen, even with the Latino community? And I'm not anti-Latino, but when we find when it comes to fighting for our issues, those same groups are not with us. You want to be on camera, don't you? So it's stuff like that. It's like we don't we don't put ourselves first, and we don't hold other people accountable when they hang no stop when they hang us out to dry. We don't hold them accountable, and then we let them take over our fights. Shh. We let them take over our fights, over our organizations. Before you know it, the group or the movement is not surrounded around us anymore. That happened with Black Lives Matter. We've seen it happen a million times. Most or a lot of organizations that were started during the civil rights movement were started during for black people by black people. And how many times did they get taken over and dismissed, and then our issues got lumped in with everything else? And not that those other issues weren't important, but anything that had to do with us basically went away. And so we have to we have to start centering us in our fight, because nobody else is going to fight for us. No one else is going to fight for our plight. No one is going to recognize that black people have been, how many times have we talked about the fact that reparations, right? Anytime reparations comes up, most black people, when you talk about reparations to them, they're going to tell you, well, we don't need reparations anymore. We're not going to get it, so why fight for it? You run into that type of attitude when it comes to fighting for reparations. My uncle actually said, "What do you need reparations for? Why do you need reparations?" I was like, "Why is it that every other group, Native Americans and even Native Americans in their form of reparations is bullshit. We know that, but still they receive something. They receive some form of it. But you have Native Americans, you have the Jewish community, and rightly so. They received reparations justifiably. So I'm not taking away from them. What I'm saying is every other community, you had the Japanese community that got it from the Hiroshima bombings. Okay. Um, right. Absolutely. So why is it that when we talk about getting reparations, with the statistical disparities that we can just come up, and you could just look at you could just Google it. You see, there's disparities in income, in job security, in healthcare, in all those things. Why wouldn't you think that we would be deserving of reparations? And you have so many black people coming out here, going out their way to get DNA tested so they can find out if they're Native American, anything but black. They want to find out they're anything but black. And I've heard my own family say, well, the reason they don't want you they're not going to tell you if you're Native because Then they'll realize they have to owe you reparations. No, they don't, because one, they owe us reparations anyway. You're fucking African. Secondly, the ones that they do pay, the natives that they pay reparations to, they fucking stuck them on. Okay, think about the landmass of North America, of the United States alone. Why is it that they have the natives? Oh, you can go here, you can be here. I know there's lots of reservations throughout the U.S., but it still doesn't make sense that basically we could, well, not we, the colonizers can run free all over this goddamn continent, and then you got the natives. They're not supposed to leave this area, and if they do, then they've got to do A, B, and C and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense to me. So to me, is it is something that you have to question, like the quality of what they would be offering to any other group of people in the form of reparations. But as far as we're concerned, we ain't get shit. We still haven't got shit. And they want to make it seem like, oh, well, you guys are asking for a handout. Y'all are just innately lazy. And we buy that shit. We buy that shit and we take it and we sell it back to our own fucking people, rather than going and saying, no, you do owe us reparations. You enslaved us for at least 400 years. And I'm only using that because that's the term that we keep throwing out there, but it's actually closer to like more like 600 years. And um oh, which girl are you talking about? That she has on her platform, because I know Cynthia's had a lot of people on her platform, and I know she had a girl on there last night. One of her moderators, she had to call in. Um, but yeah, so even with all of that being concerned, we don't even want to fight for that. We want to say, we want to downplay that, but we've been we have been colonized by these motherfuckers for the last 600 plus years. And if you go back and you read the destruction of the black civilization, you will see that this started like a millennia ago. Oh, you might be talking about Cheryl. And I like Cheryl. I like Cheryl. I know she is on there from time to time and everything, and I respect what they have to say. But I wouldn't mind being on Cynthia G's. I wouldn't mind calling in one day and kind of offering some insight on some things. But yeah, like we're deserving of reparations. Nobody should be telling us that we're not deserving of reparations. But you have so much. I appreciate that, Keith. I really do. So maybe the next time she has call-ins, maybe I'll call in. But we just got to get to the point where if we can just get on the same page about certain things, like it's certain things that we shouldn't be arguing or squandering about, like as far as like reparations, we all should say no, 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 we deserve reparations. That should be a given. It should be no, yes, we believe we should get it, no, we don't. No, all of we need reparations. We should celebrate some of the same heroes across the board. We should all celebrate. Sure, we could celebrate Martin Luther King. Nobody's saying not to celebrate him. You can celebrate a revolutionary and point out their flaws. It's important to do that so that we can know going forward how we avoid making the same mistake. So realizing that Martin Luther King, and even Martin Luther King recognized before he was murdered, before he was executed, he recognized that he had, quote unquote, integrated us into a burning house. When I was talking to my cousin tonight, she didn't realize that that was even the case. She didn't realize he had said that. I'm like, right, because most people want to remember the "I have a dream" speech, and that's it. And that's the thing that white people want to throw up in your goddamn face anytime they feel like you're being racist towards them. So it's just we have a lot of work to do. But I had a great day at the festival. Keith, I would recommend, like, check and see what types of events, because you might be surprised that there might be some black centered events, like they might be having something all weekend for Malcolm X. You never know. So I would check into that. I would and even if it's not in Cleveland, maybe it's at a town that's not too far away from you that you could go to. Like I said, I go to Toledo, and I've never been to Toledo and looked to see if they had like a Malcolm X event or something like that. But I'm sure they've got to have something, and they definitely got to have something for Juneteenth. And Juneteenth is just right around the corner, so definitely check into that. If you move back into the Atlanta area into the South, there's all kind of stuff they got going on here, and I could always use some more conscious people in Atlanta, because I'm telling you, even though there's people that like to get together for events, it's like it's less people than that actually want to do like work, and actually want to do revolutionary work, and actually talk about revolutionary things, and actually talk about building up the community. Um, yeah, they do. And that's another thing. The other thing is you know, most of the time when they have these types of events, they have them in predominant like black areas. Like we had today, the event they had for Malcolm X was in West End. So if you know anything about Atlanta, you know where West End is, near the West End Mall, and they've got well, not too far from there, but I don't think that's considered West End. Is that considered West End? Like where Morehouse College and Morrisburg. And I'm not from Atlanta. I've been here for like 6 years, but or 7 years, but I'm not from here. Um, I did pass. Yeah, I think you're right. And if you think about it, they have reason to be scared, because I mean, throughout history, every time we've ever built their own shit, what happens? They bomb it because they're terrorists. I mean, we know that, but I passed the shrine. Yeah. So that's where they had the event today. But I passed the shrine of the Black Madonna today. I passed another thing. I said I've heard of these things, but this was my first time riding by it. So I love being in those areas. I love being in those areas. But every time, but it's just so much potential. I really feel like we could do more if only we would kind of just get on some sort of just a basic level. This is and the thing is, you could be wherever you are, and I could, like I could be where I'm at, and with the black people that are here in my area, if I could just, oh well, what are you doing and what are you doing, and if you're doing this and you're doing this, I'll do this, and here's how we work with each other. And then after we get some sort of an infrastructure where we're networking with each other, then we can network with other neighboring cities and towns and stuff like that, and get on. And then before you know it, if okay, well, I don't live in your area, but let me tell you where there's a homeschooling group in your area, because we network all over. We could do that. I have no doubt in my mind we could do that. The problem is most of us still are integrationists. We want to live amongst the white folks. We feel like the white folks have better stuff, which is true. There's nothing wrong with wanting to live a good quality of life, and your kids too. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It is a problem though when you are willing to do that just so you can sell your people out, and you're willing to step on their necks just so you can be taken care of. That's not an African centered idealism. It's not, and we need to get away from that. We need to get away from this individualistic way of thinking. Keith, somebody that I want you to check out if you are on Facebook, check out Diallo Kenyatta. I don't know if you follow China Fox, but she put me up on him, and I've been listening to him now for the for the. Sorry, my cousin that I sent that. Yeah, I hope you're right about that. My cousin, I'm sorry, I got distracted because my cousin that sent me that bullshit in my inbox. She's sending me stuff and I haven't read what she had to say. Diallo is Diallo, and then Kenyatta is Kenyatta. And you can follow him on Facebook, and you can also you probably could send him a friend request and he'll probably add you. But just if you just he's great. He's good. You'll like his content. You will like his content. He has a lot of he's on Wednesdays and Fridays. So I really want you to check him out. And just he's really great. You'll if you like what I have to say, you'll love what he has to say. You'll love what he has to say. So if you're on Facebook, check him out. I'm gonna jump off here because my son feels like I'm ignoring him, and I kind of am. But I didn't really expect to be on here for an hour, but it's Saturday night. But anyway, I will. Are they in my subscriptions? I don't think so. I am subscribed to him on YouTube, if that's what you mean. I didn't put a description in this particular. No problem, Keith. I appreciate you, and I didn't put a description in this box, but you'll find him on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, if you just use the spelling that I just gave you, Diallo Kenyatta, Kenyatta, you'll find him. And I do think he has a channel on YouTube as well. And then he's also on Patreon. If you follow anybody on Patreon, he's on there. So he's not hard to find. And he does a show every Wednesday and he does one every Friday. So, anyway, I'm gonna get off of here, and I really appreciate you listening and communicate and just offering your insight. I really do appreciate that. You have to excuse me when you first came on. I didn't recognize your name, and sometimes I'd be like, oh shit, I hope I ain't got no trolls this soon. But I don't have a big platform like that. But you have a good one. All if you guys watch this after the live is over with, I hope you got something out of what I had to say. And I'll do this again sometime. All right, peace.